That angers me really, really bad, because you can get $2 million to tear down this place, but you cannot give more money for us to move and to relocate our families. What kind of mess is that? I just got a little peed off, because that's not cool at all. You're like saying we're not even worth the dirt that you're trying to replace. Sorry, people, but if it was their little families out there, they'll be breaking their doggone necks to get things right and get them what they need.
Yes.
In addition to calling, questions need to be answered. What is the rush to get these people out of there? Do you plan on demolishing this unit in the next 2 months? Yeah. Because if that's not the case, there really is no rational reason. The environmental toxins and things like that have been there for 20 years. So the 2-month difference to uproot people's lives, move them to dangerous neighborhoods, he needs to explain what the rationale for this decision is.
I questioned that immediately, because I was concerned about that, because that's one thing that's been brought up here in the CAG meeting, and why we sent a letter to the mayor on March 17th, after a meeting on March 11th that we brainstormed, because we were upset trying to figure out what's the rush on this. What is the rush on this? Are they ready to demolish? What is going on? There is no approval demolition application as of yet. Okay, Indiana Housing Community Development Authority has approved the money. But from the city side, from this side, this process, Kate states, there is no approved demolition application. They cannot demolish without that approval. The article says demo would begin in September, but my understanding that several environmental measures have to be taken before demolition begins. Debbie may know more about what the measures would be to be taken and approved to ensure the demolition process does not cause further exposure to surrounding residents. And right now, we also know that EPA and the city are going at it, because EPA does not want to clean up the whole site on the demolition, because the consent decree was already set to clean up with the residents living there. The water filters for Project Neighbors, the not-for-profit, Beth has so far given us, first drop was done on March 4th. She came to our meeting, she bought 19 filters. That date, there were 2 that were picked up, one for Zone 2 and one for Zone 3. For seniors, after that, in that meeting we discussed about proper intake form, because she needs it for her reporting for the not-for-profit. So from that being said, we went forward with that. Then just last week, if I'm not mistaken, she contacted Ray. He picked up another 19?
Well, it was 30, but just 13 usable filters.
13 usable.
17 usable filters. The others were like bacterial stat, which aren't geared to extract lead. Just to treat bacteria.
Right.
So we couldn't use those.
Right. So right now we need to distribute. The remaining of the filters. So at my house, and we already have the names. We just need the volunteers to help distribute them. Majority of them are going to Zone 2, because they have not barely received anything out of the first batch. Everything went to, people picked them up here from Zone 3. So these are going to Zone 2. One is only going to Zone 3, so there are 13 there. She also gave us 7 of the double refill cartridges. Ray.
Well, it's like 21 total.
Right.
21 total single, but there were double packs.
There were double packs. And Ray did give a double pack. So we have 6, 2 are committed, and we have 3 single there. So those will be distributed to this. And we've got list of other meeting the priority on the intake form, meaning according to her, what she's requesting, being a senior, 65 or up, pregnant, with children ages 8 and under, and especially seniors or disabled people, and the other main key is that they're veterans.
Many people here will remember House Bill 1344, which a large group went down and testified on last month. And that is, it looked for some time like it was going to be killed in committee, but it is scheduled for a hearing on the 29th, which is next Wednesday. Yeah, unfortunately, the amendments that were put forward by the community don't appear to have been addressed. It's still in the same form that it passed out of the House.
What is that bill? Sorry.
House Bill 1344 provides for some level of testing and some other mostly precatory language about how the state should cooperate with the federal government in the cleanup process. So it remains the kind of imperfect bill that it was. It will need to pass. It will need to go through second and third readings, as well as passing out of committee before the end of next week. So it's going to be on a very tight schedule. So I just wanted to update the group on that and see if, since it seems like this is no longer the center of what we are concerned about, but if there are any statements or things that maybe we could convey to the committee, or I could go down, or I could ask an Indianapolis staff member to give some testimony at that meeting, or if members of the community want to go.
You're right.
Well, I can do
On a
that.
doctor appointment, right down with you.
All right. It'll be at 1:30 their time, 12:30 real time at the state capitol on Wednesday.
That's my outing. 29th.
Yeah,
That was sponsored by Earl Harris, correct?
that's right.
Let's go. That's my vacation. Gets me up. Okay, and then you've got update on the independent lab testing sample?
Okay, yeah. So Chris and Julie from Valpo and Sarah from USGS have been working on lab testing of various soil and dust samples that they took here in December. What they've been doing is to take the sample and subject it to the same kinds of acids that it would encounter either in the stomach or in the lungs to try to determine like how readily will this lead actually enter the bloodstream. And so they found what they said was, in general, looking at the results, it looks like what EPA has had to say is approximately correct in terms of the total lead content. And for example, where we had some samples that were taken below where EPA had stopped digging, those came out very low in lead. So that appears to be correct. In general, the bioavailability of the lead was around 40 to 50% in the stomach, which is a pretty significant level of intake if you did happen. You know, obviously, if it's a kid getting some dirt in their mouth or whatever, and bioavailability in the lungs is pretty low, which is good as far as that goes. One thing that I wanted to mention, because of the questions we've had about how results seem to be very inconsistent between properties and within properties, is that they're finding, even when you do these tests, you take your sample and you homogenize it, you mix it up as well as you can, and then you take a little tiny piece of that and you put it in your lab equipment, usually like 1/10 of a milligram or something like that. And what they're finding, and what's not usually something you would see, is that one of those little subsamples may be hundreds of parts per million different from another subsample you take from that same sample. So that may be part of the reason why we're seeing these erratic results that the EPA has been giving out. They're not in a position, and I'm not trying to claim that that's necessarily the answer, but it seems like a possibility that these samples are more mixed up than you would expect. So that's what I
Are they
got.
still taking more samples or?
Ray has been giving us some samples.
Okay.
Like you said, that you're making a homogeneous mixture.
Yeah.
Now, how many samples are they taking from that mixture?
I'm not sure.
Okay, but the samples they taking, are they in conflict? They're coming at different levels?
Yeah, that is what I was told. And that's one reason it's taken them so long, is that, you know, because usually when you get one reading and then another reading that's like very different, then you have to go back.
And they're in different sample batches.
Out of one sample.
Out of one
Yeah.
sample is being homogenized, and
Yeah.
you're still not getting consistent readings.
Right, that's my understanding.
The 21st, we were hand-delivered letters saying that we had 10 days to relocate. My letter told me that I would be moving to the Ardell Gardens in Chicago, Illinois. April 1st, we would have to start paying rent in these units. We've never seen these units. I don't even know where the Ardell Gardens is. I had to Google it.
Where is it?
On the south side of Chicago.
2 miles from the Ford plant. 2 miles away.
From the Ford plant.
Oh, over
Like off
there?
115th, I think it said.
Oh, that's a rough area.
Yes.
I know what you're talking about now. People say don't go over there.
Yeah, I'm not.
do?
I also, we were given, not only were we hand delivered the letters, they also mailed them out like a couple of days later, sent them to our mailbox stating that this is where we would be, we would have to pay rent. They will be moving us out between the 3rd and the 7th of April. No given date or time, it's just in between those days that they would just show up with a moving truck and pack us up and take us to wherever this area is. No questions. Did you want to say anything else?
On yesterday, they hand-delivered a letter stating, because we get to file a grievance, and we get to file it 10 days after we have received the letter. So on yesterday, we received this yellow, lovely letter stating that if we turn in our grievance before or on March 29th, then we will have our hearing on March 30th. So they're already prepared for us to turn it in sooner than the 31st, which is actually our deadline to turn in the grievance. That's about it right now. We know nothing about the school systems out there, like where they're located. So we have to still investigate all of that and moving. Another concern that we have is that our children now are in school uniforms. We don't know if we have to change that. So it's just all the moving things that we still have to deal with. They're not giving us like any information. Again, on the letter that we received stating where our unit is, it's not stating how many bedrooms it is. We don't know what kind of unit we're moving in. I know that I have a 3-bedroom, but don't know. I mean, currently I have a 5-bedroom. My voucher is for 3. There's a lot of panic, a lot of frustration, a lot of stress now because, see, my concern is this. If I move to Chicago and you have relocation in East Chicago, you know, the people who are supposed to assist us still, because we still have 2 months to use our vouchers, how are we going to communicate with the people who are housed here? Or are we not going to get that relocation assistance anymore? So that's one of my concerns, like, you know, for the people who still need the relocation assistance, is it going to be there or is it done? We're not getting any information on that either.
What's the due process and the grievance procedure? They
We're-
rule?
Well, you know, we don't know. They haven't, okay, so they don't have a form for us to fill out. We're actually working with Shriver and Legal Aid. Legal Aid has contacted us. Well, we contacted them, did the intake, and actually my lawyer has contacted me yesterday in regards to the, you know, the proceedings. So they haven't told us anything about this grievance process. They haven't sent out any paperwork, just you can file a grievance, that's all it says. And so we do have help on that. And if we can get out the word, because a lot of people don't show up. And I don't want people to lose out on their opportunity to fight for, what they want. So if we can even get that out to let them know, hey, contact the Shrivers, contact legal aid and let them know, because they are ready for us, the legal aid. They're ready for our intake. They know that we're calling, they've been aware, and so, yeah, I think that's about it.
And you also don't know where your children would be placed in school?
No, so what my plan is on Monday, is to get up, because my daughter, she runs track. Well, she practiced with the junior high school out here, and she runs for AAU, which is in East Chicago. She plays basketball, and she has all these after-school activities. So what I need to do is find out what school she is going to, and if they have these things, and if it's going to cost. Because right now, it's free. So those are some
And
issues.
then I have a son that has an IEP, so I'm kind of worried about this late in the school year, will they try and hold him back from going to the 7th grade because he would be coming to them so late in the year? Do they even have anything already in place for him to be in one of these schools? And I'm really nervous about moving him because he's been at this school since the 1st grade. So when you have children with ADHD, everything has to remain the same. We're already under enough stress knowing that he has to move to another home or another house or apartment, but then I'm putting more stress on top of him by relocating him from school and friends and teachers that he's had since 1st grade at the ECUEA.
And what about parents who are being moved to Chicago but have jobs at East Chicago? And
A lot of them are saying they would have to quit their jobs.
Because
They
how
would-
far it is.
They say their jobs are too far for them to be able to come back and forth to get their kids. Some work overnight. So they were saying it would be too hard to try and get all the way to Chicago, get their kids up, get ready for school. They haven't offered any transportation for our kids, period. And by my son attending a charter school, they don't have a bus system. So I would have to be responsible for bringing him back and forth to East Chicago every day if I move outside of Indiana. And a bigger problem with me is moving him to Illinois would be another process of applying for medical for him. He has medication that he has to take daily. I can't go 30 days. I can't wait 30 days. And by it being a controlled substance, you can't get refills on it. This is something that you have to go to a doctor every month to receive in Indiana. So that would be delayed as well. And then I don't know how the behavior might be if the medication is withdrawn right now. I don't know what I could be looking forward to with him.
So I'm thinking right now the biggest thing for West Cal is to make sure that we get in touch with as many people as we know to make sure that they're filing their grievance so that they will not have to move. That's the first thing. Secondly, would be to have more people, like I do truly appreciate yesterday and all the people who came out. We need more people like that. They're saying that they're moving us because of safety issues. And it probably is their safety issues. And so we need more attention on that area too. Yes, we stay in public housing, but we still have to give up a lot. So main thing, grievance. Thank you for the support, more support, and we need more dollars. I'm gonna be honest, because we have to get rid of things. And I think that's all I have.
Because basically what,
On the safety issue, can't the mayor put extra patrols in there and it's a short interim period that we're talking about here to compensate for to eliminate the safety issue? And then that would, put you folks in a position to stay there. And so the other question is, when do they remediate the complex? And there's probably things they can do that wouldn't affect anybody still living there if they want to get started that quick. So there's no reason, the only issue here is providing an extra patrol going through the complex.
Well, also the mayor issued a statement yesterday, apparently doesn't want to talk to anyone, and he said something about they've been there too long with the environmental risks and now it's just too dangerous. Well, why wasn't it too dangerous for the last 8 months?
Why has it been too dangerous since 1972?
6 children were not able to register for school in South Holland because the resident had not turned on her utilities, because she didn't have the money to put down a deposit. And although the housing authority said that they will pay for relocation things, like she had to put that money up front and then bring back her receipts to get reimbursed. So she was not able to do that and pay the registration fees for the school in Illinois, which they prorated it, so gave her a discount of, $300, but for 6 kids, $300. Now she has to come to East Chicago 2 times a day, driving, yes, tolls, gas, all that. And imagine if she didn't have a vehicle. So the compensation, like, that's a reality, that's real, and that needs to be addressed as well. Relocating $500 for a truck and a couple expenses, that doesn't cover it.
No.
And that's not right at all. Because now you're sending these people out, a just already distressed community, to fend for themselves, and also financially distressed. The tenants actually have to put that money up front for every application and then get reimbursed.
Yeah, that's true. Because also, they're not looking at the points that some of our children's credit scores are being lowered, because every time I apply for an apartment, my 19-year-old has to apply as well. So his credit is being ran every time I'm applying for an apartment. His credit is taking a hit because we both have to apply for these apartments because he's considered an adult on my lease. They're not looking at that. They're not looking at our credit scores are being lowered every time too, because my credit has been ran maybe about, I want to say, at least 10 to 15 times. Every apartment that I've given my information to, they're running those credits every time.
The process of us moving is not as easy as just moving. There are inspections that have to go on before we can move into the unit. I know people who have lost units because they didn't, the Section 8 where they are, they didn't go and inspect the units, and the landlord had kept the unit for at least 2 months. And now they're like, no, we can't keep holding this because the landlord is losing money. So they have to give it to someone else. So people are not out there just because I want to be out there. They're out there because there are walls that we either have to dig under or figure out how to climb over or go around to get to where we need to be. And sometimes it takes a little time and a lot more effort to get to those areas. Yeah, so I think that's it. The biggest thing with us right now is to move out and making it appear that we're just relaxing and doing things, just chilling because we're not paying rent for those couple of months. But that's not it.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand that some of us are paying rent. That's more mortgage. That's mortgage payments for zones 2 and 3.
And I'm witness.
And she's a witness to my rent is more than her mortgage.
More than my mortgage.
And that is just
Taxes
rent.
and
I pay
insurance.
rent, I pay NIPSCO, I pay water, I pay sewage, I pay everything in that complex. Nothing is free for me. I just want people to understand that nothing, 13 years of rent and 4 months of free rent, that's all I've gotten. Housing isn't giving us anything, and I have to leave basically everything that I own has to be left in that house. All furniture, all bedding, and that's 4 bedrooms full of furniture that I have to throw away. That's dressers, everything in that home I will be leaving when I walk out of that house, whenever I leave. No, I can't take anything but the clothes that we've had boxed up since September, since the EPA has been there. And a washer and dryer. That's about it.
And after, for 10 to 15 years, not disclosing to you guys when you were moving in of the risks, I assume that the housing authority here, they have not been assisting you that much in terms of looking for permanent locations, transportation to locations, those sorts of things?
I've done everything myself. I've taken myself to every home, every apartment, with no help, with even gas, mileage, nothing.